Oh, look at that. They're at it again. Gets a good laugh. Knock it off, you two. Put those guys away. And that's Peter Rabbit. Hits the big time. This is called 4-dice chink-a-chink. Great idea because you're going to do the standard classic chink-a-chink effect. The difference is, two differences. One is you don't need a fifth object. Virtually every other method of chink-a-chink, you've got to have an extra cube, an extra bottle cap, or whatever it is you're causing to assemble. In this version, there's only 4. Just 4 dice, an ordinary dice cup. Now, if you don't happen to have dice in a dice cup, another version of this is to do it with sugar cubes and a coffee cup. Another advantage to this particular method is not only do they all assemble, but in theory, they assemble in order. The first die from the outer left-hand corner, from your point of view, has got the 1 on top. The second die has a 2 on top. But secretly, when you lay out the second die, you make sure the 2 is facing upward, but also the 3 is pointing towards your right. Okay? So that's the 1 and the 2. The 3 is uppermost from your point of view, the inner left-hand corner, and it doesn't make any difference what's pointing in the other directions, just as long as the 3 is up. And the 4 is pointing upwards. As you do that, make sure the 2 is on your right, so the 2 is pointing to the right. That's the whole setup. And of course, this you could do right out in the open, very cleanly. Now, because you're not using a fifth object, an extra object, you have to get one ahead in another way. That's where the dice cup comes in. What you do is you show the dice cup is empty, the hands are empty, roll up the sleeves, you're as clean as you can be. Then, sort of like the coin assembly, in some versions of the coin assembly, you explain, well, I could cover this and this, but then the other 2 are visible. I could cover this and this, but those 2 are visible. Then you cover the 2 and the 4. As you cover the 2 and 4, you classic palm the 4. And there's a bit of cover because the dice cup is up here. So after you say I can cover this and that, but those are visible, cover this and this, classic palm the 4 with your left hand. And it's one move. You lift this up, bring it back, pretend to cover up this die, and at the same time move your hand over to there. So that's how you get one ahead. That's how you get your extra die. Let's do this at regular speed. I could cover up this and this, but you'll see the other 2. I can cover up these 2, you'll see those 2. In fact, no matter what I cover, you're always going to see 2 dice. Okay? Now you've got the extra die. The reason for having the 2 uppermost and the 3 to your right is because you're going to cover the 1 and the 2 with your left hand and your right hand. As you do this, your right hand secretly rolls the die 1/4 of a turn to your left. Okay? What that does, it puts the 3 uppermost. At the same time, your left hand with the palmed die is going to secretly roll that 1 turn to the left, so now the 2 is uppermost. And by doing this, it looks like the first die, you palm this one now, it looks like the 2 jumps from here over to there in order. And by giving this a 1/4 of a turn, the one you've got palmed has got the 3 pointing upwards. Okay? So that's the first one across. Now you say, let's make the 3 go next. All you do is you cover the 3 and you give it a 1/4 of a turn. Doesn't matter what side is up. If you give it a second 1/4 of a turn, the 4 will be up because the 4 and the 3 are on opposite sides. So as you cover it, you give it a turn. You cover this one with your right hand and you wiggle the fingers a little bit. You palm the die in your left hand. You lift up with the right. It looks like the 3 has joined the 1 and the 2. Finally, you cover the 1 and the 2 and the 3. You have to give this die that you just palmed from here 1 extra 1/4 of a turn in the same direction. You do that as you do a little magic. You show there's nothing under the cup. Lift up your hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, in order, no extra dice to get rid of, and that is the version called 4-dice chink-a-chink. Follow the leader. Wonderful card trick. It's kind of nice to do something other than pick a card, lose it in the deck, I find it by magic. This has a nice little story as well. You could talk about training the cards. To do this, I usually prepare in advance by separating 10 red cards from 10 black cards. You could, of course, do this with a borrowed shuffle deck and right out in the open separate the cards. That works as well. But by doing it in advance, it eliminates a lot of extra counting. So what you have are 10 red number cards. And for contrast, I try to make sure there's no quart cards in there. I want good, solid spot cards. Usually I take out the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of hearts and diamonds, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of clubs and spades. Okay? First thing you need to do is somehow secretly displace 3 cards. In other words, you've got to get 3 of the red cards away from the reds, get them onto the bottom of the packet so they have joined the black cards. Now obviously the easiest way, well no, not the easiest way, the most efficient way or the most direct way is with a pass. I'm not a big fan of the pass. If you know how to do the pass, that's terrific. You could start with the cards face down, spread them out, get a break under 3 cards, and whoosh, do a pass. Sneak them to the bottom. That will work. One of the bad things about a pass, I think, is the fact that very often they'll see that white edge as it goes. If you want to be extra clever, you can show the cards this way. As you close them up, just get a break between any 3 cards underneath the top group, and you can do like a center shift and just take out 3 cards from the middle of the upper packet onto the bottom. To me, that's an awful lot of work for such a small thing. I would much rather do the displacement in the act of counting the cards one at a time in the initial display. See, as soon as you bring these out, nobody knows what you've got. So you have a reason to show the cards one at a time. Here's what I like to do. I turn them face up. I say a little mystery with 1, 2, 3. On the count of 4, I push over the next card. I say 4. That goes under the 3rd card. Secretly underneath, I pull it. So it's the Hofstadter spread control. I pull it under the spread of 3. So that's the count of 4. The exact same thing with card number 5 and card number 6. So you still have a spread of 3. Secretly underneath, you have 3 more cards that are concealed. Okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Card number 7, 8, and 9, they just go here. 7, 8, 9, and 1 more makes 10. So in counting the first 10 cards, you've got 3 cards secretly pulled underneath. Now you're going to show the 10 black cards exactly the same way. 1 goes here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you still have these first 3 red cards that were pulled underneath. So as you square them up, the audience shouldn't even suspect this, but secretly you've taken 3 of the red cards and you've put them there. Let's do this at regular speed again. Remember, nobody knows what you've got. You say, let me show you an interesting mystery with 20 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 red cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 black cards. To me, that looks pretty fair. Square them up, turn them face down, you've done the displacement. The next step is to separate the cards into 2 groups of 10. So face down, I say 1, 2, 3. 3 more makes 6. 3 more makes 9. That's 10. And 3, 6, 9, 10. Now, the audience doesn't know this, but you now have 3 black cards in your red packet, 3 red cards in your black packet. But you don't want to expose this. That's part of the effect. You save it for later. The next thing to do is to take out 1 leader card from each group. Now in doing this, you have a reason for turning the cards face up because you're looking for, you know, a good leader card for each group. What I do is I take 2 cards, 2 more cards, and then fan out 2 more, which exposes 3. So that's a total of 7 cards exposed. That's all you can expose. If you go even 1 card further, you're going to start exposing the wrong color. So I say what I need actually is a leader for the red cards. Let's see, a leader for the red cards. Oh, I know. That's a good one. Doesn't matter which one you use as long as it's one of the 7 exposed cards. Preferably one of the upper 6, because if you decide you want to use this one, no good. So you get rid of 1. That you say is the leader card for the red cards. We also need a leader card for the black cards. Do exactly the same thing. Let's see, what would be a good leader? Oh, I think I'll use the 6 of clubs. That's good. So that exposes a lot of black cards there. Now you're ready to start the effect. As far as the audience is concerned, nothing's happened except you've separated 10 reds from 10 blacks, and you've taken out a leader card for each color. First step, openly, slowly, and fairly switch the leader cards. Snap the fingers, do a little magic, turn over 3 cards simultaneously from each packet. The colors follow the leaders. Second phase, exactly the same thing. Pick these up, switch the leader packets, a little bit of magic. Remember, the cards always follow the leaders. Now at this point, you're finished. The remaining 3 cards are actually red, near the red cards. The blacks are near the black cards. Lots of different things you can do here. Let me show you the standard mixing procedure. This is in the Die Vernon routine from early Vernon, as I recall. The red cards go on top of the black cards, like this, and you do this mixing procedure. You push off 2 cards. This is basically the Charlier shuffle. 2 cards as a group into your right hand, 1 card off the bottom, 1 card off the top onto the bottom of the right hand packet. The last 2 go on top. You do the exact same mix a second time. Very slowly, 2 cards as a group into the right hand, 1 card off the bottom of the left hand packet on top of the cards in the right hand, 1 card off the top of the left hand packet onto the bottom of the right hand cards, the remaining 2 on top. So what you've done is basically a false shuffle. You had 3 red